with us right now. Now it's Mustang Matters, and one thing we always do on Mustang Matters nationwide, we always kick it off with some American Indian flute and a Lakota prayer. So Joanne, take it away.
Atewa kantanka tagashla, wopla ushmailo omakiayo, chindagnish nimes washnias chichu, shuka wakana oyate ki otehi ka hecha, daku washteki hecha domushte hecha, aho mudakiapi.
All right, and that's to every one of our American Indian reservations being served right now by Native Voice One. Coast to coast, border to border, and like Joanne Spotted Bear likes to say, res to res. Let's get started with some facts and figures. I'll tell you, this last Saturday we had an absolute wonderful, if you will, opportunity to pay tribute to our American horses and burros, wild horses and burros up at Piper's Opera House on the Comstock, beautiful Virginia City, with the Wild Horse Preservation League. And today I learned that they were able to raise quite a bit of money at that function. They had a silent auction going on, and they had entertainer after entertainer. We're talking about world-renowned cowboy poet Harold Roy Miller. We're talking about David John, the Comstock Cowboys, Richard Aloyan, and also Ron Christensen. Well, he was there as well. So what a wonderful event. Now, speaking of events, ladies, and before we get to our first caller and first guest here on Mustang Matters, Shannon, I'd like to come to you because I'd like you to tell the listeners about an upcoming event, and I will too, before we get to Cindy and her very special guest.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for calling in or listening in today, and we would love to hear from you. Call in with your questions, your comments. Love to hear from you. We have a fantastic, fun event coming up to benefit our wild horses, the rescued wild horses, as well as the wild horses on the range, keeping them wild and free. It's going to be Saturday, October 19th, here in Reno at Bartley Ranch at the Flying Bee Barbecue Pavilion. We're going to have all sorts of fun events for children, activities, games. We're having a hayride, pumpkin patch. There's going to be music by Joe Greco, and Wrangler Rich is going to be there with his horses giving horse rides.
Wow.
Yeah, we're having a raffle. We've got so many prizes that have been donated. It's going to be awesome. It really is. It's going to be a fun event. People can get tickets right now in advance by going to www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com and go to our shopping tab, click on there, and get as many tickets as you want.
All right.
We'd love to see you.
You better believe we look forward to seeing each and every one of you that can make that event October 19th. Now let's turn Mustang Matters over to the host of the show as well, Cindy Hartzell.
Good morning, Eddie. I have one question about the event coming up on the 19th. Is that the only way you can purchase tickets, or can you purchase them at the door?
Yeah, I believe that you can get them at the door, Cindy. Yeah.
All right.
We're
I
not
love
going to
it.
turn anybody
No,
away,
I'm not-
and we're never going to decline any money from anybody ever.
That's right. I don't want to be fired by the horses here on Mustang Matters. Cindy, I think we have a very, very special guest, right?
I don't think she's called in quite yet, but
Oh,
we
okay.
are waiting for her to call, and I'm anxious to introduce her.
All right.
But while we wait, I'd like to share that Hidden Valley has had some more horses adopted.
Really?
Yes, we
Okay,
have.
now, first thing I'm going to say to both of you that do such a wonderful job, Shannon, as president of Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And your hearts have got to be as big now as the obligation you're faced with.
Oh my goodness, we're just thrilled that we have so many beautiful horses, that we have so many wonderful things going on. As Cindy mentioned, we've got some adoptions. We have a hay drive going on right now to feed our horses. People can go to our website and donate there at www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com. And if you're not into using credit card and PayPal, you can send a check or money order to Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund, P.O. Box 20052, Reno, Nevada 89515.
All right, Shannon, thank you for that. And our very first, by the way, listeners, you heard us say it earlier, I'm going to say it again. Come join us. We're at the Reno Town Mall. You can actually get behind a microphone and give us your questions or comments. You can also text us here on Mustang Matters. That text number is 775-384-4444. Call us toll free from anywhere in the nation. It's 855-790-8255. The first text comes in from Arizona, right outside of Mesa, Arizona. John Gavigan writes in and says, could you explain how I can sponsor a horse at the Whiting Ranch?
Yes, I can. Thanks for your inquiry. We have several horses out at the ranch, and all you have to do is go to the www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com. There is a sponsor button, and we do have lots of pictures of our horses that are out at the ranch. If you find one particularly that you would like to sponsor, just put that description down, or you can just sponsor a horse for any type of fee that or amount that you can donate every month, and we will send you out a thank you letter with a picture of the horse that you're sponsoring. You know what, Eddie? I think our special guest has called in.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, listeners, remember that call-in number is 855-790-8255. If you just tuned in, this is Mustang Matters. Let's go to the host of the show right now to introduce our very special guest, Cindy Artzel.
Okay, Eddie, this guest is really exciting to have on our show. Her name is Simone Netherlands. She is a noted horse trainer, and she is the director of Respect for Horses. She has been fighting for all the horses, both domestic and wild, for a long time, and now also making a documentary about wild horses that we are very excited about. Can you tell us more about that, Simone, the documentary that you're making?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You're coming in loud and clear, Simone. You're coming in loud and clear.
10-4.
Oh, good. I was a little worried because they put me on hold and you said, oh, she hasn't called in yet, so. But here I am.
Well, we're glad to have you. Simone, share with us some of the exciting things that you're doing for our wild horses and domestic horses.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for the amazing show that you put on, and it was so nice meeting you last week at the International Equine Conference.
It was nice meeting you too, and your little sidekick as well.
Yeah, my little dog, she's laying right next to me right now. So, okay, the documentary. You know, most people know that I'm not really a documentary maker, but kind of became one out of necessity. You know, just like you guys are lucky to have herds of wild horses close to you guys. I'm pretty lucky to have the Salt River wild horses really close to where I live. So I travel back and forth there and get on the river there all the time, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So the plight of these, you know, wild horses is quite urgent because, as you know, wild horses that are mostly in jeopardy are the wild horses that do not have a territory or an HMA because they can be brought straight to the auction without any kind of public process whatsoever by either the Forest Service or the BLM because they are then considered feral. So because in Arizona we have less than 500 wild horses left, I thought it was just really necessary to, you know, to bring some exposure to these horses and to really bring people right into their lives as closely as we possibly can, and show them the amazing herd dynamics and the amazing communication that they have together and how they really, really take care of each other, so that we don't only bring the plight of all wild horses, you know, to America, but also you know, really show the beauty of them. Because usually what people don't know, they don't understand. And what they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they hate. So we just need a little bit more exposure to our wild horses and girls. And that's why really we started making this documentary.
Simone, your documentary, the clip that you played for us at the International Equine Conference in Kentucky a couple weeks ago was beautiful. I mean, the footage that you captured of these horses living in their herd, their family environment, and how the stallion goes out on a limb to make sure that everybody's cared for. When do you think you'll be able to get this documentary completed and out there for all of us to be able to share worldwide?
Well, the 22-minute documentary that it's the short documentary that we now have finished. That's the one that you saw there. Is only the beginning. It's really about the making of the documentary. But the goal is to have a 45-minute complete documentary. But since the 22 minutes has taken us pretty much the last year of my life, it is expected to be at least another year before we have a full documentary. But the short documentary is doing the film festival circuit right now, because that's kind of the procedure that you have to do, which I didn't know either, but I learned it, through the process, that you have to go and visit all the film festivals to get notoriety, to find some distributors and sponsors and things like that. So the really good news is that we've just been accepted at the Sundance Film Festival, so we're really excited about that.
That is super exciting. So Simone, if people wanted to help you get this documentary up and going and into full production, is there a way that they could contact you to do that?
Absolutely. Anybody can always email me or go to my website. It's www.respect4horses.com, and the 4 is the number 4. And also, you can email me at Simone, that's Simone, at respectforhorses.com as well.
Thank you for that. And Simone, I know that you have really made this your life's passion on trying to help people understand more about our wild horses and burros, and how many of them are been deprived their actual territory that they have been rightfully or supposedly rightfully given in that act in 1971. Is there something that you could share just briefly with us about that?
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. What many people don't know, and I want to not talk about a lot, is that in 1971, according to the Wild Free Roaming Horse and Burro Act, both the Forest Service and the BLM were supposed to do a census and then assign wild horses and burros territories and herd areas in the areas where they existed at that time. That was exactly what that law said. However, as many of you already know, both the BLM and the Forest Service were previously the ones who thought they were doing America a favor by ridding America of wild horses and burros. So, when you ask the same agency that's been, getting rid of wild horses and burros, so all of a sudden now they have to protect them, and you can imagine that was a really difficult switch for both the BLM and the Forest Service. And up until this day, they have really never switched the mentality that wild horses and burros are overpopulated and that they are a nuisance. They've just held on to that mentality in spite of the fact that now we might have less than 25,000 wild horses and burros in our country, and less than 500 in Arizona. It's incredible to me that when you have less than 500 of something, it is still considered, a nuisance, and let's get rid of it. It's pretty unbelievable, and it's very, very tough task for all of us to change that attitude.
I agree.
And so, imagine if your grandfather and your great-grandfather have told you over and over, gosh, these wild horses are such a pest, there's so many of them. And there really were a lot of them, Back in the 1800s, we did have over 2 million of them. And from all the research I've been doing lately, and anybody can actually do the same research if they go onto the website of the Library of Congress. You can find all these articles from like the 1900s where people are saying what a nuisance the wild horses are, and how they need to be rounded up, and how they're stealing domestic horses. And they used to poison their water holes. They used to just hold big roundups of 500 cowboys each year, and they would would drive them into ravines and shoot them and capture them, use them for Bronco, shows. And it's amazing when you look that up to realize, how we went from 2 million wild horses down to what we have left now. It's a pretty sad story.
Boy, I tell you,
So, and
Simone, I tell you what, this is amazing. Now, what we would like to do, with your permission, Simone, and for those of you who just tuned in, we're talking to Simone right now, Netherlands, and I'd like you to do this for us. Give us the contact information. We're going to move on to our next caller, Simone, but we want you to be a regular here on Mustang Matters. Could you do that for us?
oh, absolutely, not a problem. I'm sorry I'm talking so much. This is my favorite subject,
Oh, well, yeah, but listen, you're not talking enough for us. It's just we have to go from caller to caller. But Simone, how do people reach you? And then we've got someone right behind you. But thank you so much for being so much a part of the Wild Horses and Burros here nationwide. And thank you for all you're doing. Tell the people how to get a hold of you.
Well, thank you. Well, anybody, that has any good information, my phone number is 928-925-7212, and that's my cell phone. And my email is Simona, SIMONE, at respect4horses.com, and the 4 is the number 4.
Wow. Well, on behalf of Cindy Hartzell, Shannon Wendell, Joanne Spotted Bear, Craig Moss, Debbie McCarthy, and yours truly, thanks for being a part now of Mustang Matters in the future as well. Thanks for calling in. Listeners, I also want you to call in. That number is 855-790-8255. I have said this, and ladies, I have to share with each and every one of you, I have said this nationwide before on many talk shows. I have met a lot of people who know a lot about our wild Mustangs, but I have never in my entire life met anyone who knows as much, or certainly not more, than the gentleman we have on the line right now, and that is none other than my friend and your friend, listeners, Willis Lamb. Willis, welcome to Mustang Matters.
Oh my God, Eddie, I'm gonna have to go down to the boot bar and get a bigger hat. Hey, it's good to see you guys, or talk to you guys.
You bet.
Thanks for being such a great MC up there at the coverage last week.
Well, I tell you what, Willis, both Debbie and I loved seeing you up there. I got to share that with you. Plus, let's give us this opportunity, because Shannon and Cindy and Joanne Spotted Bear all say the same thing. They agree with me when I say that, as far as a person who knows more about the Mustangs, the wild horses, and burros nationwide. Now, I've got to share with you, Willis, that you are unbelievable to me, because while you were up there giving that presentation at Piper's Opera House, I believe you received 3 or 4 phone calls to do animal rescues that you had to take care of during that event. Am I right?
Well, I had to hand a couple of things off, so that they could get taken care of. And especially when Sheriff's Dispatch called, and I had to explain why there was a raffle going on in the background. But yeah, we stay pretty busy between animal services and the horses that get into trouble, and then people that sometimes have difficulties with their animals and so forth. I've learned, although temporarily I'm not retired, I learned a few years back that retirement means you never get a day off. So. But that's cool, I'm going to come on, Jack. Let's keep it rolling.
Willis, thank you so much for calling in. This is just awesome. We just love hearing from you, and I wanted you to talk today about the training program that you have developed. I think this is just an awesome opportunity for so many horses. Tell us about it.
Okay, well, this is something we've been talking about for a long time. A lot of people in this region are familiar with the work that's done by the inmates at the Stewart Correctional Facility there in Carson City. It's actually the Stewart Conservation Camp off of Snyder. They maintain a lot of horses for BLM, and they do the saddle horse program for not only private adopters, but for the military and also for the Border Patrol. So you got these guys, and this is sort of the elite group of inmates, so to speak, the ones that show some real promise and have some aptitude with animals. A lot of them don't have necessarily that kind of experience, but they have the right attitude and aptitude. They learn some really good skills in there. I mean, I've trained and started my horses, for decades, and I've got a Christian Mustang, as you guys know, Trooper. He'll be coming out at April 8th, and probably again a Swamp Thing. And it's one of the best horses I've ever had as far as being able to take the horse and just go forward with it. So these guys are smart. They're trying to get on the right track. The biggest problem that we had was they get out of the facility there when they're relieved, and they end up being a busboy or driving a forklift or what have you. It's really hard for them to take all that knowledge and skill and responsibility, which is one of the key things that they're learning, and apply it in the real world. So we've struggled for years. Finally got some backing through the folks in California, one of the corporations over there, the Horse and Man magazine, and one of the private foundations to kind of run an experiment where we've got Fred Winkler, one of the top trainers. At the time he was released, he was the lead trainer for the program. He is now working on a number of different horses. He's got 31 Indian reservation horses that he's working with. He's got, of course, at least one Hidden Valley horse, probably another one, a Let 'em Run horse. So these are all horses that came off the range either on tribal lands, public lands, or were picked up by the Department of Ag. And he's hitting the road getting these horses prepared for doctors. The Indian horses, the idea there is to try to determine as best you can which ones are really suited to the human environment and which ones are probably better off going to the sanctuary. Because we're putting too many horses that should be adopted in the sanctuaries because we don't have a process to help prepare these horses for adopters. We don't have the time or the skill to go and take a completely wild horse and sell it to the point where it can be trained. So this has been a huge step forward, and I'll tell you this, this kid's working from sun up to, it'll be sunset. He's out riding one of these horses along the highway, trying to get them ready for the next step.
Willis, let's do this if you don't mind, okay? Right now, there's so many people who not only, want to know your contact information, but there's also certain groups that would like you to come and do a film presentation. That those presentations up at Piper's Opera House left the entire audience breathless, and a lot of them with tears in their eyes. But more importantly, a lot of them said, you know what, I'm going to get behind this. I'm going to get behind what Willis Lamb is doing. How do they get involved? How do they help you and those people, at least Resistance? Tell our listeners every way they can contact you, Willis. And then I know how busy you are. We'll let you go. And our next guest up, no stranger to you, Dr. Lester Freelander, okay?
Oh, cool.
So,
all right, well, I need to back up a couple of yards here, and that is, I was the presenter, but this is a huge teamwork effort. All the things that we saw in the slide presentations and so on. That's what these boots on the ground advocates are doing. I'm kind of a spokesperson here. I don't want any of the listeners to think that this is just me, and that kind of deal. This is the collective. You're part of that collective. Charlie's part of the collective. Everybody that's sitting in the studio is part of the collective. But our particular piece of the elephant here that we're trying to digest can be accessed from the Wild Horse Ventures website, the LRCC website, and it's WH, as in Wild Horse, WHmentors.org. You can see what we're up to as far as rescue training and all these other kinds of things. It's part of the collective. It's not just us. And there's contact information for folks that want to get more information or want to participate, or their groups want to affiliate with this alliance of horse groups that are actually out there getting stuff, accomplished.
wow. Again, Willis, on behalf of all of us, and certainly hope you can make it to the studio next week, too. You're as much a part of the host of Mustang Matters as anyone else here at the studio. So thank you for all that you're doing. Look forward to seeing you next week, my friend.
Thank you
So
so
we
much.
love you guys. Take care.
All right, we love you too. We love you too. Okay, now let's go to our very next guest, who happens to be no stranger to Mustang Matters or to America Matters Media, heard nationwide on Native Voice One radio stations, Dr. Lester Freelander. Doctor, welcome to Mustang Matters, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'd like you to bring us up to date. What's new? What can we do?
Okay, well, I'm working on two important issues. Number one is make sure that we don't slaughter our American horses. So I'm actively pursuing and also watching out what the judge is going to say in about 2 weeks with the Roswell, New Mexico plant, Valley Meat, if they're going to slaughter horses or not. I think that it won't happen, but then again, my organization, Citizens Against Equine Slaughter, is going to do everything possible to make sure we don't slaughter our horses in the United States.
That's
And
just
the other
awesome.
thing I'm working on is the wild horses and burros. I keep trying to let the Congress know that the wild horses and burros need shade and shelter. That is of the utmost, especially with the conditions that are coming up in the wintertime, that they need that kind of protection.
Absolutely. Those are vital, really, really important issues that so many of us are concerned about now across the United States. Stopping horse slaughter. Dr. Friedlander, we really, really appreciate everything that you have done and that you're doing now. And we have people actively, because of the U.S. government shutdown, there's a lot of concern right now about the horses that are being held out at the holding pens, specifically here in Reno, the Palomino Valley Center, just north of Reno. We have people out there every day watching to see what's going on, making sure the horses are being fed. They did put out 3 experimental shelters up there. But thank you.
You know, Doctor, thank you, like Shannon Wendell just said, thank you so much. Now, we have just enough time as we close out Mustang Matters for our Fox News friends here. I want you to tell the listeners how to get a hold of you very quick, Doctor.
Okay, you can get a hold of me to our Facebook, Citizens Against Equine Slaughter. Also, our webpage is www.noequineslaughter.org.
And Doctor, we not only want to thank you, I want to say goodbye right now to our Fox News affiliate friends here, and I also would like to tell everyone listening nationwide, coast to coast, to border, right now that when we come back from these words from our great sponsors, we're going to kick off another episode of Mustang Matters. We'll be right back.
1 minute.
Doctor? Doctor? Did he leave?
No, he's there. I just
Okay,
turned him
Doctor.
down.
Okay, that's okay. Hold on, Doctor. You got to kick us off again.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
And now we'll get to the,
And then
it's like a
Eddie-
whole new show.
And Eddie, as soon as we come back, I've got to run downstairs.
No problem, buddy. No problem. It's okay. We got him on, and that's all I care about.
My eyes are
Bring you a
spinning.
bottle?
Yeah, my eyes are floating.
You know what? I'll get you a Sally. What do they call them? Sally thing? My wife told me about it. Her last husband had an airplane, and there's a thing called a Sally something.
Oh
Women
my
use it. Whoa!
Doctor has left.
The doctor has left.
The doctor has left the building.
Oh, but he didn't know I was going to try to keep him. Okay.
I don't know why, because he could hear you the whole time.
He might have accidentally got disconnected.
Yeah. He was on a hard line. It's not like he was on a cell phone where he got a lot of signal. He was on a hard line.
You know what? Let me tell you something, kids, right now, because this is
20
probably
seconds.
10 times more listeners today than we've ever had nationwide.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Quiet, please. 15
seconds.
seconds. Quiet, please. 10.
All right, listeners, you know what that theme song means. If I can stop these beautiful ladies from dancing here at the studio at the Reno Town Mall to Mustang Matters, it means it's another episode of Mustang Matters. So right here, brought to you by America Matters Media, with so many wonderful advocacy groups that are represented today, like the one we're going to key on primarily right now, Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund. You'll learn more information about it nationwide, but those that are listening, especially those involved in the United Nations right now, and yes, you heard me right, involved with the United Nations, thanks to Joanne Spotted Bear. We're glad you're listening, and for everyone nationwide, including you, you can call us toll-free 855-790-8255. One of the things we always do on Mustang Matters, since we're not only heard on Fox News Radio, but also on Native Voice One radio stations nationwide, coast to coast, border to border, and Res to Res. We always kick it off with American Indian Flute by Joanne Spotted Bear and a Lakota Prayer.
Ask you to bless over all the horses that are being slaughtered and rounded up for no good reason at all. Trader, ask you to bless over our people from California to New York, Montana to Texas, and all the way around the world. All the ambassadors like to give ask for a special blessing for Eddie and Fox News Radio, Native Voice One, for making it possible for the national and international listeners to come aboard today on the special topic on help saving the horses. When it comes to the horses, it'll also come down to laws and treaties and what really matters. Thank you for this day. I hope you got happy.
All right, you heard that from Joanne Spotted Bear, one of the hosts. With us today on Mustang Matters, of course, we have host Cindy Hartzell. We have Shannon Wendell, and joining us right now for this show, we also have Kelly Hyatt. Full House. Full House. Debbie McCarthy is fielding the social media on Facebook. A lot of you have been chiming in on Facebook, and also we want to thank for the first time a lot of our brand new listeners in New York, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Florida, Georgia, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma.
Woo!
All right, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, as well as all across the West Coast. Not one single solitary state on the West Coast is not represented. So thanks for getting involved. More importantly, thanks for caring. Thanks for caring. Let's go to Shannon Wendell.
Well, thank you, Eddie. Thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to be here and talk about our horses and all horses across the United States. Thank you, listeners, for being there. We welcome you. We welcome your comments and your questions. We love to hear from you. We hope that you enjoy the topics that we have coming up in our conversations every Wednesday, 11 to noon, and our guests that are calling in. And we've just been very, very blessed to have so many interesting people pop in. And many of them thanks to Cindy Hartzell. She's been in touch with some of the Netherlands and Betty Craig from the International Equine Conference. We had the opportunity to meet them. It's just been overwhelming. And of all things, we want to thank America Matters, Nevada Matters, for giving us the opportunity to be here, Eddie, you and your staff, and we're just very grateful.
Well, thank you for saying that, but let me set the record straight. I'm marching to Shari's orders right now.
I love Shari.
She runs the
I
Wainema
love
Ranch, and so I'm marching to her orders. But speaking of getting people involved, nation and worldwide, Shannon, I'm going to go to who you just paid accolades to, Cindy Hartzell, right now, because Cindy, we have an unbelievable event coming up in Truckee, California.
We do. We have Franklin Levinson all the way from Greece coming out to do a 2-day Beyond Natural Horsemanship clinic. It'll be November 2nd and 3rd. He's actually flying in on the 29th, Eddie, and is going to be one of our guest speakers here in person.
Wow, great,
I believe
great.
that's going to be the 30th, yeah, so we're really excited. And if any of you would like to come as an auditor, which means you get to sit on the fence and watch all of us try to get better with our horses, or if you'd like to bring your horse and participate, we would welcome you. You can reach me at 530-386-3639, and I can tell you how to get signed up to participate. And I hear you and Shari are going to be there.
As a matter of fact, we're looking forward to it because I'll tell you what, you heard me pay tribute to Willis Lamb. Well, Willis told me, he said, you know, Eddie, that's really kind of you to say how much I know, but that fella that's coming to Truckee, he said, I'm going to be sitting in the audience as well. So there's a tribute to who's coming to Truckee.
I'm excited that Willis will be there. Willis has been one of my biggest mentors on this Mustang project I began being involved with in November, and what a great group. what an awesome, talented man with his horse rescues and what he can do with the wild ones. You know, we have Kelly Hyatt here who has some really exciting things to share with us that are kind of hot off the press. And so let's get to Kelly and let her share.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for. Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Well, my name's Kelly Hyatt, and this is Mustang Matters, and so I just want everyone to know that the Mustangs do matter. And maybe I'll just want to give you a little bit of history about the Virginia range horses, if you didn't really know. Wild Horse Annie is a lady that started this fight back in the 1950s to help protect the wild horses of Nevada, specifically the Virginia range horses. And we here at Mustang Matters in Hidden Valley, we fight for all wild horses, but these ones are the ones that live in our backyard. So we're continuing that fight for Wild Horse Annie that she started so many years ago. And one of the great things that just happened is this past June, Governor Sandoval signed a number of bills into law, and one of them is really, really important to the wild horses, the Virginia range horses specifically. And this is going to usher in a new and innovative approach to managing the Nevada's wild horses. Specifically, it allows for the state and authorizes the state of Nevada to enter into cooperative agreements with nonprofit entities. That is really important because that means that local people can get involved with their local nonprofits and help to protect these horses that are out in the wild, to keep them out in the wild. And there's a lot of things that people can do. You don't have to be able to volunteer money or to build fences. You can clean poop in your own neighborhoods. You can call and report if you see horses that are somewhere that need help or they're in your neighborhoods. There's so many things that you can do, and I really encourage everyone to go to Hidden Valley's website, to go to Willis's website. It's a cooperative effort between all of the organizations here in the Reno, Tahoe, Dayton, Stagecoach area, and we really need your help in so many ways. So please, I encourage you all to Google Wild Horse Annie, find out about her and how she started this movement, and get involved in your local community.
You know, I'm going to jump in, Kelly, because you said everybody can do something. I personally would like to thank you because when you said everybody can do something, thank God you helped me this past weekend. Shari had to come into town, so what you and I were doing, we were loading some feed sacks, and like I told Ron Christopher, a world famous country western singer, I said, you know, I pulled a hamstring on my hay bale. He said, Eddie, that's a country western song. I said, not unless you feel it, not unless you feel it. But I want to thank you for feeding 115 wild Mustangs at the Winding Ranch, sitting on the back of the pickup truck while I, with one leg, drove that pickup truck for you. And Bruce and Cindy Hartzell were there mending fence. What a family we put together. And by the way, that's also, so that we pay tribute to everyone at the table, that's also after poor Shannon's driving at midnight, bringing tarps so that we can cover the hay as well. Shannon, do you ever sleep?
Sometimes, occasionally.
Occasionally, once in a while.
There's so much to be done for these horses. It's really a passion of ours. So many people in this area, they've known the horses for years, for decades, and they want to participate. They want to be a part of what's going on, and we encourage you, come to our website, www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com. Our next membership meeting is coming up on Thursday, October 26th. I think it's the 26th. It's the Thursday at any rate at 6 p.m. We'll be meeting at the South Valley Library on Wedge Parkway. We encourage everybody in the area to come. Sign up to be a volunteer. There's so much work that needs to be done, putting up fences, making sure the horses are safe. We have all sorts of projects that we need to get started. We want to count the horses, document them, photograph them. We're going to, American Wild Horse Preservation Campaign under Return to Freedom has just submitted their request for a proposal to take part in this venture with the state
Wow.
of Nevada under the Department of Agriculture. The deadline was last Friday, October 4th. They submitted, and now it's a hurry up and wait until we can actually get out there, boots on the ground, and start working with the wild horses, making sure they're safe, making sure they don't get picked up, they remain wild and free. That is our goal. Right,
Yes,
Kelly?
yes, it is.
You
Right,
better-
Joanne?
you
Right,
better-
right,
And
yes.
Joanne, you wanted to chime in as well?
Yes, on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, we have the National Congress for American Indians coming together in Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson.
Or Tucson, Oklahoma.
Tucson.
Yes.
Tucson, Arizona.
No, Tulsa.
Tulsa.
Tulsa,
Okay.
yes, yes.
All right, we'll
Oklahoma.
teach this Lakota English after the Mustang Matters show. Go ahead, Joanne.
There's gonna be 564 federal recognized tribes coming together. And I've been asking for donations to go there. Unfortunately, I am not able to go there because I have not had no donations. So what I'm gonna ask from Native Voice One and 564 federal recognized tribes who are going to National Congress for American Indians, to ask that Sue Wallace's resolution be pulled and voided out of Indian country. Because of that one resolution, it fell like a domino effect from 564 federal recognized tribes to National Congress for American Indians, down through Congress, and it reached here in Nevada, and this is what American Matters is talking about today. And the Lacey Dalton Show and Eddie Floyd and all the ladies who are here, they put their hard work and their time into saving these wild horses. And this is why the ambassadors of the United Nations is also involved in human rights, as well as all of our rights. So
Well, thank you
to
for
share
that. Okay, that's Joanne Spotted Bear, one of the co-hosts here on Mustang Matters. We're gonna go around the panel. I don't wanna leave out any events coming up. We talked about the one coming up in Truckee with the Greasy Cowboy. Didn't Lacey J. Dalton name him the Greasy Cowboy?
She did, and doesn't Lacey have something coming up this Saturday?
You know, as a matter of fact, you just saved me a black eye. You just saved me a black eye because I am referred to by Lacey J. Dalton. They have, and when I say they, I am talking about Lacey J. Dalton, country western star, along with Dale Poney. They have nicknamed me No Show, because there have been a couple times I've been invited to MC their events, and I just simply couldn't make it, so I got the handle No Show. Well, guess what? No Show will be at the Red Dog Saloon twice this Saturday, and that's this Saturday, for an unbelievable event on the 9th of October at the Red Dog Saloon with Lacey J. Dalton. And I've got to share with you, it's the 12th of October, because like Lacey J. Dalton, I have Cindy and Shannon throwing things at me here on Mustang Matters when I say the date wrong. It's the 12th of October. Thank you very much.
It is, Lacey, and just because you're not here, I'm gonna make sure that I hold him to whatever it is you want him to do.
You
We
better
miss
believe
ya.
it. You know what, now we talked about Willis and everything, and by the way, listeners, Lacey J. Dalton, not only do you want to go up to the Red Dog Saloon, it starts at 2:30 in the afternoon for a family event. She's going to put on a show for all families, but also then at 8:30 in the evening, another event for those of you who really want to let your hair down and have a lot of fun with Lacey J. Dalton, Dale Poney. And I got to share with you, the bass player has played, that she has up there, the bass player has played with Janis Joplin. He has played with even, you know, the Purple Sage. So many groups in his lifetime. Can't wait to meet him in person. Never had the honor of interviewing him. But I tell you what, I heard from Michael Martin Murphey that he is one of the best. And when you hear that from Lacey J. Dalton and Michael Martin Murphy, you know there's got to be some fact to it. So meet us up there, Red Dog Saloon, that's Saturday the 12th at 2:30, kicking it off for the families. Thank you, Cindy, for that wonderful segue. Let's get back to Shannon now when it comes to events.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to this Saturday at Virginia City. Red Dog Saloon is in Virginia City. That's an awesome place to be. Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund is organizing their first annual Fall Festival and Family Barbecue. Going to take place here in Reno at Barton Ranch, the Flying Bee Pavilion, on Saturday, October 19th. It's going to be a fabulous, fun day. Starts at 11 o'clock, goes to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I understand we've got a promise of beautiful weather that day. Tickets can be purchased now in advance at www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com on our shopping tab. Buy as many as you would like. We've got activities and games for the kids, hayride, pumpkin patch, music on Joe Greco. Wrangler Rich is going to be there with horse rides for his, for the kids and adults, because these are full-size horses. They're not ponies.
You better believe
And
it.
he's splitting some of the profits from that with us. It's just unbelievably generous of him. Jason Murray of Murray Hay Ranch has promised to donate the beef, beautiful, organic, grown Angus beef for the burgers.
Yummy.
It's just fabulous, just wonderful.
Well, I gotta jump in right now, listeners. We can receive your text as well as your phone calls. That toll-free number nationwide. And again, we are speaking to you in Lincoln, Great Britain. Lincoln, Great Britain. Why don't you give us a call? We have an international line 11, and then our toll-free number that's also usable in the United States is 855-790-8255. Sonny, text us, and if you'd rather text, that text number 775-384-4444. Raise your hand, whoever wants to answer. Sonny Foreman in beautiful San Marcos, California right now. He says, love the show, would not miss Mustang Matters. Have one quick question. What time of the year do most of the mares foal?
Oh, wow, what a question.
I think.
Sonny, are you considering being a stud? Is that what we're thinking here? I'm a little curious on the question.
I think I'll go ahead and answer that question. Being a herd manager and a vet tech for 25 years, mares tend to foal during the spring. They carry their foals for 11 months. They tend to start, if it's a little bit early, we'll start seeing it in February. Ideally, they'll start dropping their foals or delivering their foals in March and April. A late foal is considered May and June. The reason for that is survival. They know that they need to be bred by May or June so that they will have babies in March and in April of the following year, so that those babies have the entire spring and summer and fall to grow and get strong in order to be able to withstand the elements of winter. I hope that answers your question.
Well, Sonny, thanks for the question. And you know what? Obviously, we have another fan in Las Vegas, Nevada. He chose to text in right now. And by the way, thank you for that, Craig. Craig corrected me. Those of you listening in Lincoln, England right now, 011 is what you put before 855-790-8255. Would love to hear from you. Love to get a call. We had one from Melbourne, Australia on Monday.
You forgot the Shire. It's Lincolnshire.
Oh, Lincolnshire. Oh, I'm sorry.
Gotta get,
You know,
I mean,
well, when you think Mustangs, I'm thinking of a Lincoln. I'm thinking of a Pinto. I'm thinking of a Ford product. So Lincolnshire, I apologize for that. Give us a call right now. But Wes McWethy writes in and says, thank you, Cindy. Thanks for that update. I have another question that maybe you or someone on the panel can answer, and that's Wes McWethy, located in Las Vegas, Nevada, says, will a stallion attack the foals to throw the mother in heat again?
Typically, no. The only time, well, first I want to back up. The wild horses are such an amazing example of family and community and unity. Those stallions are very, very proud of their young, and they take very good care of them. The only time you will see a stallion attacking one of its young, or a young in general, is because that young has something wrong with it. And when they're out in the wild, it will hold the herd as a unity back and threaten the survival of all. So the only time that you're going to see that, Wes, is if there is truly some kind of problem, illness or physically something not right, that you would see a stallion do that. Otherwise, they're phenomenal fathers.
And you know,
normally you just see them abandoning the little baby. If there is something wrong, they'll just end up leaving.
oh really, just
And
leave
we
it.
found many of them that way.
Wow, that's sad. That's a tearjerker and a heartbreaker. Okay, and then Bill writes in, and Bill says, I agree with Cindy. You don't see it very often in horses, but you will see it in donkeys. He said you will see it in donkeys. You know, Bill, thanks for that, and thanks for getting involved in Mustang Matters. Maybe that's why they call them
Let's not
jackasses.
forget the donkeys. Let's
Maybe
not
that's
forget
why
the
they.
burros.
Hey, Bill, you know, thank you for that. I am not all that savvy on burros, and Mustang Matters is about Mustangs and burros, and we would love to have you call in and share your wisdom with us. So please consider calling us in either today or next Wednesday or anytime. We need to know as much about our burros as we do our Mustangs, so thanks.
All right, and that was Bill. Boy, I tell you what in the world is going on in this world of technology? You can still pick up the phone and talk to us. People love texting nowadays in the world of technology. That text number, if that's what you prefer, like the last three, is 775-384-4444, or toll-free call us at 855-790-8255. I'm going to go to you now, Joanne Spotted Bear. Quick question, okay? Growing up on a reservation, okay, and you tell the listeners nationwide right now what reservation you grew up on, horses played a major part in your, if you will, rearing on a reservation. Am I right?
Yeah, yes. Listeners, my name is Joanne Spotted Bear. My Indian name, my Lakota name is Matogleshkawi. I'm officially from Wounded Knee, South Dakota. I'm part of the Great Lakota Teton Nation, and it was the Lakota Teton Nation that killed Custer using these horses. We also used horses for hunting the great buffalo. The great buffalo and the horses are a sacred animal to the Lakota Nation, so are the dogs. When the dogs, a long time ago, when the buffaloes were slaughtered, and the Lakota, they never ate horses, so they used to take their dogs. When the food ran dry, the Great Lakota Nation prayed, and they asked Creator if they can kill the dog to eat it. So that was the only time the Lakota people ate the dog, and the dog gave the sense to the Lakota Nation in which direction to go for food, whether it was cherries or berries or deer or elk or something. There was always a small blessing for just a little bit more food. So with that, today I'm with Eddie Floyd, Lacey J. Dalton, and the girls that are here today. And we are speaking on behalf of the sacred animals, the horse, that they are saving. They put their effort into this day in and day out, as you can tell. I myself am a lawyer for Reno Sparks Indian Colony, Valentine Shoshone Tribe. I'm assistant judge to Rudy James, and I do talk to the ambassador, the chief ambassador of the world. And it's really hard to get his name together. I'm still learning English.
Hey, we're still damn, that's right. We're still teaching you Tulsa, okay, and Tucson. The difference between Tucson and Tulsa. But thanks for being here, Joanne Spotted Bear. You are heard nationwide on Native Voice One radio stations. And listeners, my boss just showed up, so I have to be especially good. That's right, Bruce Hartzell, a veterinarian up in Truckee, California. And also I call him my boss because, as you know, Kelly, on weekends, man, he orders me around, doesn't he? Pick up that railroad
Yes, he
tie.
does.
Put it here, put it there.
Drive
Feed
that
those-
tractor.
or drive that tractor. Let's punch a hole here and there and everywhere. And that's how our weekends are. But you know, it's a labor of love for all of you ladies. And it's amazing to me. And so invite goes out to anybody here in the northern Nevada area. If you really want to come out and see the wild horses there at the Wainema Ranch that are owned by the Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund, we invite you. You might get, just like me, hooked on it. You might get hooked on it.
Absolutely. Once you get out there, you just want to stay there and stay there. And it's just like going out into the wild here in Reno, and you see the wild horses. You just want to go out there and help them, and it just takes over your life when you look into the eyes of a horse. They really do.
And you know, let's pay tribute, Shannon, I'm gonna come to you now, because let's pay tribute to Lacey J. Dalton, because Lacey J. Dalton, first time I ever heard this, and she said it's not her saying, but it's one she uses all the time, and it's very, very true, and that is the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man, and you learn that over and over and over again.
You sure do, Eddie, that how true is that? Wild horses, all horses, but our hearts are set on the wild horses that, as Kelly pointed out, live in our backyards. We were up on the hillside yesterday talking to a couple who had driven up there and had seen them for the first time. And they said, oh my gosh, we just counted 152 horses.
Wow.
Yeah, so this time of year, we know that the horses are coming down out of the hills. They're getting closer and closer to our fence lines. There's lots and lots of work. We're working on a project right now it's an experimental project that we've got. It's fun and it's thinking outside of the box. How can we help our horses? How can we keep them safe? Volunteers. We need volunteers to help us do so many things. Raise funds, get out in the field, looking for grants, all sorts of stuff. And they can help by going to www.hiddenvalleyhorses.com and contact us, donate, attend the next meeting.
You better believe it. Get involved. Speaking of getting involved, I just asked a young lady to come up from the audience right now because she is known in Northern Nevada, a therapist, okay? Bev Pascal has joined the audience. She's actually on another talk show this afternoon, but Bev is no stranger to the horses herself and certainly no stranger to Shari. As a matter of fact, Bev is a therapist, a family therapist, and I've got to share with you, Bev, get up on that microphone right now. We're going to put you on the spot right now. I want you to come out, okay? I want you to come out and find out why all of us at this table are so damn crazy to be involved with these horses.
At least she doesn't have that kind of time.
That's right. Would that be too expensive, Bev? But no, in all honesty, what they're doing with these wild horses is so, if you will, needed in our area. We want to save the American heritage.
And I'm as crazy as you guys are. Up until just a couple of years ago, I used to adopt down from the prison and gentle them and green break them, and so I'm as crazy as you guys are. And my entire office is all watercolors, original watercolors of horses, wild horses.
Well, let me be the first to say, Bev Pascal, you need a therapist. Thanks for joining us here on Mustang Matters. You know what, listeners, you heard Shannon say it, and it's so important. We want you to do that. You've heard about some upcoming events. Get involved, okay? And those of you nationwide, I want you involved too. I kind of wanted to end with this last little text that came in because this is wonderful. This one comes in from Sharon in Wyoming. She said, I am very much behind Melissa and what she's doing with our Wyoming wild horses, but I also want you to know that you can count on my support in the future to help you and all those beautiful ladies, she must have seen it on Facebook, with what you're doing for the Nevada herd as well. And thank you, Hidden Valley Wild Horses. Now that's nice.
That's wonderful.
I wanted
Thank
to
you.
end with that.
Thank you, Melissa, that was very nice.
Yeah, you better believe it. And I've got to share with you now, listeners, Mustang Matters heard not just on Fox News, but Native Voice One radio stations nationwide. And when I say nationwide, I truly do mean coast to coast, border to border, and like Joanne Spotted Bear likes to say, res to res. Thanks for listening this week, and remember, come join the audience next week, Mustang Matters, and between now and then, please get involved. That's Hidden Valley Wild Horse Protection Fund.com. We'll see you next week. Yay! Okay, now it's chit chat with all the good-looking girls. Are we going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects?
Absolutely.
All right, good.
I emailed you this.
Okay,
where's
our beautiful Katie?
All right.
Where's our Katie girl?
Don't run off
They
with
spilled
boots. We're
for
going to
us.
say hi to my boss.